Item 1. Abbreviations and definitions. 1. Applicability. Wherever the following terms are used in these specifications or other contract documents, the intent and meaning will be interpreted as shown below. 2. Abbreviations. AAR Association of American Railroads. AASHTO American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials. ACI American Concrete Institute. ACPA American Concrete Pipe Association. AI Asphalt Institute. AIA American Institute of Architects. AISC American Institute of Steel Construction. AISI American Iron and Steel Institute. AITC American Institute of Timber Construction. ALSC American Lumber Standard Committee Incorporated. AMRL AASHTO Materials Reference Laboratory. ANLA American Nursery and Landscape Association. ANSI American National Standards Institute. APA the Engineered Wood Association. API American Petroleum Institute. APWA American Public Works Association. ARIMA American Railway Engineering and Maintenance of Way Association. ASBI American Segmental Bridge Institute. ASCE American Society of Civil Engineers. ASLA American Society of Landscape Architects. ASME American Society of Mechanical Engineers. ASNT American Society for Non-Destructive Testing. ASTM American Society for Testing and Materials. AWC American Wood Council. AWG American Wire Gauge. AWPA American Wood Protection Association. AWPI American Wood Preservers Institute. AWS American Welding Society. AWWA American Water Works Association. BMP Best Management Practices. CFR Code of Federal Regulations. CMP Corrugated Metal Pipe. Co-US Army Corps of Engineers. CRSI Concrete Reinforcing Steel Institute. DBE Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. DMS Departmental Material Specification. EIA Electronic Industries Alliance. EPA United States Environmental Protection Agency. FHWA Federal Highway Administration, U.S. Department of Transportation. FSS Federal Specifications and Standards, General Services Administration. GSA General Services Administration. Hub Historically Underutilized Business. ICEA Insulated Cable Engineers Association. IEEE Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. INA Illuminating Engineering Society of North America. IMSA International Municipal Signal Association. ISO International Organization for Standardization. Its Intelligent Transportation System. IT Institute of Transportation Engineers. LRFD Load and Resistance Factor Design. MASH Manual for Assessing Safety Hardware. MPL Material Producer List. NCHRP National Cooperative Highway Research Program. NCR Nonconformance Report. NEC National Electrical Code, published by NFPA. NEMA National Electrical Manufacturers Association. NEPA National Environmental Policy Act. NESC National Electrical Safety Code. NFPA National Fire Protection Association. NIST National Institute of Standards and Technology. NRM Non-Hazardous Recyclable Material. NREMCA National Ready Mixed Concrete Association. NSBA National Steel Bridge Alliance. NPEP National Transportation Product Evaluation Program. OSHA Occupational Safety and Health Administration, U.S. Department of Labor. PCA Portland Cement Association. PCI Precast/Pressed Rest Concrete Institute. PPI Plastics Pipe Institute. PSNE Plans, Specifications, and Estimates. PSL Project Specific Location. PTI Post-Tension Institute. QA Quality Assurance. QC Quality Control. RCP Reinforced Concrete Pipe. RPLS Registered Public Land Surveyor. RRC Railroad Commission of Texas. SBE Small Business Enterprise. SFPA Southern Forest Products Association. SI International System of Units. SPIB Southern Pine Inspection Bureau. SSPC the Society for Protective Coatings. TAC Texas Administrative Code. TCEQ Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. TDLR Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. TMUC Texas Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices. UL Underwriters Laboratory Incorporated. USC United States Code. WRI Wire Reinforcement Institute. WWPA Western Wood Products Association. 3 definitions. 3.1 Abrasive blasting. Spraying blasts of pressurized air combined with abrasive media. 3.2 Actual cost. Contractor's actual cost to provide labor, material, equipment, and project overhead necessary for the work. 3.3 Addendum. Change in proposal forms developed between advertising and bid submittal deadline. 3.4 Additive alternate. A bid item contained in a proposal that is not a regular item or a replacement alternate bid item. The additive alternate item, S, include work that may be added to the base bid at the time of letting. 3.5 Advertisement. The public announcement required by law inviting bids for work to be performed or materials to be furnished. 3.6 Affiliates. 2 or more firms are affiliated if they share common officers, directors, or stockholders. A family member of an officer, director, or stockholder of one firm serves in a similar capacity in another of the firms. An individual who has an interest in, or controls a part of, one firm either directly or indirectly also has an interest in, or controls a part of, another of the firms. The firms are so closely connected or associated that one of the firms, either directly or indirectly, controls or has the power to control another firm. One firm controls or has the power to control another of the firms, or the firms are closely allied through an established course of dealings including, but not limited to the lending of financial assistance. 3.7 Air blasting. Spraying blasts of pressurized air free of oil and moisture. 3.8 Air temperature. The temperature measured in degrees Fahrenheit, degree F, in the shade, not in the direct rays of the sun, and away from artificial heat. 3.9 Anticipated profit. Profit for work not performed. 3.10 Apparent low bidder. The bidder determined to have the numerically lowest total bid as a result of the tabulation of bids by the department. 3.11 Architect of record. A person registered as an architect or licensed as a landscape architect, in accordance with state law, exercising overall responsibility for the design or a significant portion of the design and performs certain contract administration responsibilities as described in the contract, or a firm employed by the state to provide professional architectural services. 3.12 Arterial highway. A highway used primarily for through traffic and usually on a continuous route. 3.13 Available bidding capacity. The contractor's approved bidding capacity less uncompleted work on department contracts. 3.14 Award. The Commission's acceptance of a contractor's bid for a proposed contract that authorizes the department to enter into a contract. 3.15 Bid. The offer from the bidder for performing the work described in the proposal. 3.16 Bid bond. The security executed by the contractor and the surety furnished to the department to guarantee payment of liquidated damages if the contractor fails to enter into an awarded contract. 3.17 Bid error. A mathematical mistake made by a bidder in the unit price entered into the proposal. 3.18 Bidder. An individual, partnership, limited liability company, corporation, or joint venture submitting a bid for a proposed contract. 3.19 Bidder's questionnaire. A pre-qualification form completed by a prospective bidder reflecting a bidder's financial data and experience. 3.20 Bidding capacity. The maximum dollar value a contractor may have under contract with the department at any given time. 3.21 Blast cleaning. Using one of the blasting methods including, but not limited to water blasting, low-pressure water blasting, high-pressure water blasting, abrasive blasting, water abrasive blasting, shot blasting, slurry blasting, water-injected abrasive blasting, and brush blasting. 3.22 Bridge. A structure, including supports, erected over a depression or an obstruction, example water, a highway or a railway, having a roadway or track for carrying traffic or other moving loads, and having an opening measured along the center of the roadway of more than 20 feet between faces of abutments, spring lines of arches, or extreme ends of the openings for multiple box culverts. 3.23 Brush blasting. Sweeping lightly with an abrasive blast to remove loose material. 3.24 Building contract. A contract entered under Transportation Code, Chapter 223, Subchapter A, Competitive Bids, for the construction or maintenance of a department building or appurtenance facilities. Building contracts are considered to be construction contracts. 3.25 Call-out work. Contracts, or work items in contracts, that require a contractor's response on an as-needed basis, example see item 351, flexible pavement structure repair. 3.26 Certificate of insurance. A form approved by the department covering insurance requirements stated in the contract. 3.27 Change order. Written order to the contractor detailing changes to the specified work, item quantities, or any other modification to the contract. 3.28 Commission. The Texas Transportation Commission or authorized representative. 3.29 Concrete construction joint. A joint formed by placing plastic concrete in direct contact with concrete that has attained its initial set. 3.30 Concrete repair manual. Department manual specifying methods and procedures for concrete repair as an extension of the standard specifications. 3.31 Concrete works copyright. Department owns software for concrete heat analysis. Software is available on department website. 3.32 Construction contract. A contract entered under Transportation Code, Chapter 223, Subchapter A, for the construction, reconstruction, or maintenance of a segment of the state highway system. 3.33 Consultant. The licensed professional engineer or engineering firm, or the architect or architectural firm, registered in the state of Texas and under contract to the department to perform professional services. The consultant may be the engineer or architect of record or may provide services through and be subcontracted to the engineer or architect of record. 3.34 Contract. The agreement between the department and the contractor establishing the obligations of the parties for furnishing of materials and performance of the work prescribed in the contract documents. 3.35 Contract documents. Elements of the contract including, but not limited to the plans, specifications incorporated by reference, special provisions, special specifications, contract bonds, change orders, and supplemental agreements. 3.36 Contract time. The number of working days specified for completion of the work, including authorized additional working days. 3.37 Contractor. The individual, partnership, limited liability company, corporation, or joint venture and all principals and representatives with which the contract is made by the department. 3.38 Controlled access highway. Any highway to or from which access is denied or controlled, in whole or in part, from or to abutting land or intersecting streets, roads, highways, alleys, or other public or private ways. 3.39 Control of access. The condition in which the right to access of owners or occupants of abutting land or other persons in connection with the highway is fully or partially controlled by public authority. 3.40 Control point. An established point shown on the plans to provide vertical and horizontal references for geometric control for construction. 3.41 Cross sections. Graphic representations of the original ground and the proposed facility, at right angles to the center line or base line. 3.42 Culvert. Any buried structure providing an opening under a roadway for drainage or other purposes. Culverts may also be classified as bridges. See section 1.3.22, Bridge. 3.43 Cycle. The activity necessary for performing the specified work within the right-of-way project limits once. 3.44 Daily road user cost. Damages based on the estimated daily cost of inconvenience to the traveling public resulting from the work. 3.45 Debar, debarment. Action taken by the department or federal government pursuant to regulation that prohibits a person or company from entering into a contract, or from participating as a subcontractor, or supplier of materials or equipment used in a highway improvement contract as defined in Transportation Code, Chapter 223, Subchapter A. 3.46 Detour. A temporary traffic route around a closed portion of a road. 3.47 Department. The Texas Department of Transportation, TxDOT. 3.48 Departmental Material Specifications. Reference specifications for various materials published by the Construction Division. 3.49 Direct Traffic Culvert. Concrete box culvert whose top slab is used as the final riding surface or is to have an overlay or other riding surface treatment. 3.50 Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. A for-profit small business certified through the Texas Unified Certification Program in accordance with 49 CFR Part 26, that is at least 51% owned by one or more socially and economically disadvantaged individuals, or in the case of a publicly owned business, in which is at least 51% of the stock is owned by one or more socially and economically disadvantaged individuals, and whose management and daily business operations are controlled by one or more of the individuals who own it. 3.51 Divided highway. A highway with separate roadways intended to move traffic in opposite directions. 3.52 Easement. A real property right acquired by one party to use land belonging to another party for a specified purpose. 3.53 Electronic vault. The department's bidding system where electronic bids are stored before bid opening. 3.54 Engineer. The chief engineer of the department or the authorized representative of the chief engineer. 3.55 Expressway. A divided arterial highway for through traffic with full or partial control of access and generally with grade separations at intersections. 3.56 Family member. A family member of an individual is the individual's parent, parent's spouse, step-parent, step-parent's spouse, sibling, sibling's spouse, spouse, child, child's spouse, spouse's child, spouse's child's spouse, grandchild, grandparent, uncle, uncle's spouse, aunt, aunt's spouse, first cousin, or first cousin's spouse. 3.57 Force account. Payment for directed work based on the actual cost of labor, equipment, and materials furnished with markups for project overhead and profit. 3.58 Freeway. An expressway with full control of access. 3.59 Frontage road. A local street or road auxiliary to and located along an arterial highway for service to abutting property and adjacent areas and for control of access, sometimes known as a service road, access road, or insulator road. 3.60 Hazardous materials or waste. Hazardous materials or waste include but are not limited to explosives, compressed gas, flammable liquids, flammable solids, combustible liquids, oxidizers, poisons, radioactive materials, corrosives, etiologic agents, and other material classified as hazardous by 40 CFR 261, or applicable state and federal regulations. 3.61 High-pressure water blasting. Water blasting with pressures between 5,000 and 10,000 psi. 3.62 Highway, street, or road. General terms denoting a public way for purposes of vehicular travel, including the entire area within the right-of-way. Recommended usage in urban areas is highway or street, in rural areas, highway, or road. 3.63 Historically underutilized business. A corporation, sole proprietorship, partnership, or joint venture formed for the purpose of making a profit certified by the Texas Building and Procurement Commission, and 51% owned by one or more persons who are economically disadvantaged because of their identification as members of certain groups, including African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Pacific Americans, Native Americans, or women, and have a proportionate interest and demonstrate active participation in the control, operation, and management of the business affairs. Individuals meeting the hub definition are required to be residents of the state of Texas. Businesses that do not have their primary headquarters in the state of Texas are not eligible for hub certification. 3.64 Incentive and disincentive provisions. An adjustment to the contract price of a predetermined amount for each day the work is completed ahead of or behind the specified milestone, phase, or contract completion dates. The amount of the incentive and disincentive is determined based on estimated costs for engineering, traffic control, delays to the motorists, and other items involved in the contract. 3.65 Independent assurance tests. Tests used to evaluate the sampling and testing techniques and equipment used in the acceptance program. The tests are performed by the department and are not used for acceptance purposes. 3.66 Inspector. The person assigned by the engineer to inspect for compliance with the contract any or all parts of the work and the materials used. 3.67 Intelligent Transportation System. An integrated system that uses video and other electronic detection devices to monitor traffic flows. 3.68 Intersection. The general area where two or more highways, streets, or roads join or cross, including the roadway and roadside facilities for traffic movements within it. 3.69 Island. An area within a roadway from which vehicular traffic is intended to be excluded, together with any area at the approach occupied by protective deflecting or warning devices. 3.70 Joint venture. Any combination of individuals, partnerships, limited liability companies, or corporations submitting a single bid proposal. 3.71 Lane rental. A method to assess the contractor daily or hourly rental fees for each lane, shoulder, or combination of lanes and shoulders taken out of service. 3.72 Letting. The receipt, opening, tabulation, and determination of the apparent low bidder. 3.73 Letting official. The executive director or any department employee empowered by the executive director to officially receive bids and close the receipt of bids at a letting. 3.74 Licensed professional engineer. A person who has been duly licensed by the Texas Board of Professional Engineers to engage in the practice of engineering in the state of Texas, also referred to as a professional engineer. 3.75 Limits of construction. An area with established boundaries, identified within the highway right-of-way and easements, where the contractor is permitted to perform the work. 3.76 Local street or road. A street or road primarily for access to residence, business, or other abutting property. 3.77 Low-pressure water blasting. Water blasting with pressures between 3,000 and 5,000 psi. 3.78 Major item. An item of work included in the contract that has a total cost equal to or greater than 5% of the original contract or $100,000, whichever is less. A major item at the time of bid will remain a major item. An item not originally a major item does not become one through the course of the contract. 3.79 Manual of testing procedures. Department manual outlining test methods and procedures maintained by the Materials and Pavements section of the Construction Division. 3.80 Material producer list. Department maintained list of approved products. 3.81 Materially unbalanced bid. A bid that generates a reasonable doubt that award to the bidder submitting a mathematically unbalanced bid will result in the lowest ultimate cost to the state. 3.82 Mathematically unbalanced bid. a bid containing bid prices that do not reflect reasonable actual costs plus a reasonable proportionate share of the bidder's anticipated profit, overhead costs, and other indirect costs. 3.83 Median. The portion of a divided highway separating the traffic lanes in opposite directions. 3.84 Milestone date. The date that a specific portion of the work is to be completed, before the completion date for all work under the contract. 3.85 Monolithic concrete placement. The placement of plastic concrete in such manner and sequence to prevent a construction joint. 3.86 National holidays. January 1st, the last Monday in May, July 4th, the first Monday in September, the fourth Thursday in November, and December 24th or December 25th. 3.87 Non-hazardous recyclable material. A material recovered or diverted from the non-hazardous waste stream for the purposes of reuse or recycling in the manufacture of products that may otherwise be produced using raw or virgin materials. 3.88 Non-resident bidder. A bidder whose principal place of business is not in Texas. This includes a bidder whose ultimate parent company or majority owner does not have its principal place of business in Texas. 3.89 Non-responsive proposal. A proposal that does not meet the criteria for acceptance contained in the proposal form. 3.90 Non-site-specific contracts. Contracts where a geographic region is specified for the work and work orders, with or without plans, detail the limits and work to be performed. 3.91 Notification. Either written or oral instruction to the contractor. Voicemail is oral notification. 3.92 Pavement. That part of the roadway having a constructed surface for the use of vehicular traffic. 3.93 Pavement structure. Combination of surface course and base course placed on a subgrade to support the traffic load and distribute it to the roadbed. 3.93.1 Surface course. Pavement structure layers designed to accommodate the traffic load. The top layer resists skidding, traffic abrasion, and the disintegrating effects of climate and is sometimes called the wearing course. 3.93.2 Base course. One or more layers of specified material thickness placed on a subgrade to support a surface course. 3.93.3 Subgrade. The top surface of a roadbed upon which the pavement structure, shoulders, and curbs are constructed. 3.93.4 Subgrade treatment. Modifying or stabilizing material in the subgrade. 3.94 Payment bond. The security executed by the contractor and the surety, furnished to the department to guarantee payment of all legal debts of the contractor pertaining to the contract. 3.95 Performance bond. The security executed by the contractor and the surety, furnished to the department to guarantee the completion of the work in accordance with the terms of the contract. 3.96 Plans. The drawings approved by the engineer, including true reproductions of the drawings that show the location, character, dimensions, and details of the work and are a part of the contract. 3.97 Power of attorney for surety bonds. An instrument under corporate seal appointing an attorney in fact to act on behalf of a surety in signing bonds. 3.98 Pre-qualification. The process for determining a contractor's eligibility to bid work. 3.99 Pre-qualification statement. The forms on which required information is furnished concerning the contractor's ability to perform and finance the work. 3.100 Project-specific location. A material source, plant, waste site, parking area, storage area, field office, staging area, haul road, or other similar location either outside the project limits or within the project limits but not specifically addressed in the contract. 3.101 Proposal. The offer from the bidder submitted on the prescribed form, including addenda issued, giving unit bid prices for performing the work described in the plans and specifications. 3.102 Proposal form. The form printed and sent to the bidder by the department or printed by the bidder from the department's bidding system. 3.103 Proposal guarantee. The security furnished by the bidder as a guarantee that the bidder will enter into a contract if awarded the work. 3.104 Quality assurance. Sampling, testing, inspection, and other activities conducted by the engineer to determine payment and make acceptance decisions. 3.105 Quality control. Sampling, testing, and other process control activities conducted by the contractor to monitor production and placement operations. 3.106 Ramp. A section of highway for the primary purpose of making connections with other highways. 3.107 Recurring maintenance work contracts. Contracts or work for which maintenance is needed at the same location on more than one occasion, example mowing contracts for which mowing cycles are requested on multiple occasions. 3.108 Referee tests. Tests requested to resolve differences between contractor and engineer test results. The referee laboratory is the construction division. 3.109 Regular item. A bid item contained in a proposal and not designated as an additive alternate or replacement alternate bid item. 3.110 Rental rate Blue Book for construction equipment. Publication containing equipment rental rates. 3.111 Replacement alternate. A bid item identified the proposal form that a bidder may substitute for a specific regular item of work. 3.112 Responsive bid. A proposal that meets all requirements of the proposal form for acceptance. 3.113 Right-of-way. A general term denoting land or property devoted to transportation purposes. 3.114 Roadbed. The graded portion of a highway prepared as foundation for the pavement structure and shoulders. On divided highways, the depressed median type and the raised median type highways are considered to have two roadbeds. Highways with a flush median are considered to have one roadbed. Frontage roads are considered separate roadbeds. 3.115 Roadmaster. A railroad maintenance official in charge of a division of railway. 3.116 Roadside. The areas between the outside edges of the shoulders and the right-of-way boundaries. Unpaved median areas between inside shoulders of divided highways and areas within interchanges are included. 3.117 Roadway. The portion of the highway, including shoulders, used by the traveling public. 3.118 Routine maintenance contract. A contract let through the routine maintenance contracting procedure to preserve and repair roadways, rights-of-way, and appurtenances. 3.119 Sandblasting, dry. Spraying blasts of pressurized air combined with sand. 3.120 Sandblasting, wet. Spraying blasts of pressurized water combined with sand. 3.121 Shoulder. That portion of the roadway contiguous with the traffic lanes for accommodation of stopped vehicles for emergency use or for lateral support of base and surface courses. 3.122 Shot blasting. Spraying blasts of pressurized air combined with metal shot. 3.123 Sidewalk. Portion of the right-of-way constructed exclusively for pedestrian use. 3.124 Slurry blasting. Spraying blasts of pressurized air combined with a mixture of water and abrasive media. 3.125 Special provisions. Additions or revisions to these standard specifications or special specifications. 3.126 Special specifications. Supplemental specifications applicable to the contract not covered by these standard specifications. 3.127 Specifications. Directives or requirements issued or made pertaining to the method and manner of performing the work or to quantities and qualities of materials to be furnished under the contract. References to DMSs, ASTM or AASHTO specifications, or department bulletins and manuals, imply the latest standard or tentative standard in effect on the date of the proposal. The engineer will consider incorporation of subsequent changes to these documents in accordance with Item 4, Scope of Work. 3.128 Small business enterprise. A firm, including affiliates, whose annual gross receipts do not exceed the U.S. Small Business Administration size standards for 4 consecutive years. 3.129 State. The state of Texas. 3.130 State holiday. A holiday authorized by the state legislature excluding optional state holidays and not listed in Section 1.3.86, National Holidays. A list of state holidays can be found on the department's website. 3.131 Station. A unit of measurement consisting of 100 horizontal feet. 3.132 Subcontract. The agreement between the contractor and subcontractor establishing the obligations of the parties for furnishing of materials and performance of the work prescribed in the contract documents. 3.133 Subcontractor. A subcontractor is defined as an individual, partnership, limited liability company, corporation, or any combination thereof that the contractor sublets, or proposes to sublet, any portion of a contract, excluding a material supplier, a hauling firm hauling only from a commercial source to the project, truck owner-operator, wholly owned subsidiary, or specialty-type businesses such as security companies and rental companies. 3.134 Subsidiary. Materials, labor, or other elements that because of their nature or quantity have not been identified as a separate item and are included within the items on which they necessarily depend. 3.135 Substructure. The part of the structure below the bridge seats but not including, bearings, drilled shafts, or piling. Parapets, back walls, wing walls of the abutments, and drainage structures are considered parts of the substructure. 3.136 Superintendent. The representative of the contractor who is available at all times and able to receive instructions from the engineer or authorized department representatives and to act for the contractor. 3.137 Superstructure. The part of the structure above the bridge seats or above the springing lines of arches and including the bearings. Flatwork construction may be considered superstructure. 3.138 Supplemental Agreement. Written agreement entered into between the contractor and the state and approved by the surety, covering alterations and changes in the contract. A supplemental agreement is used by the department whenever the modifications include assignment of the contract from one entity to another or other cases as desired by the department. 3.139 Surety. The corporate body or bodies authorized to do business in Texas bound with and for the contractor for the faithful performance of the work covered by the contract and for the payment for all labor and material supplied in the prosecution of the work. 3.140 Surplus Materials. Any debris or material related to the contract not incorporated into the work. 3.141 Suspension. Action taken by the department or federal government pursuant to regulation that prohibits a person or company from entering into a contract, or from participating as a subcontractor, or supplier of materials or equipment used in a highway improvement contract as defined in Transportation Code, Chapter 223, Subchapter A. 3.142 Traffic Lane. The strip of roadway intended to accommodate the forward movement of a single line of vehicles. 3.143 Traveled Way. The portion of the roadway for the movement of vehicles, exclusive of shoulders and auxiliary lanes. 3.144 Truck Owner-Operator. An individual who owns and operates one truck for hire. 3.145 UT Bridge. Department-owned software for steel girder erection. Software is available on the department's website. 3.146 UT Lift. Department-owned software for steel girder erection. Software is available on the department's website. 3.147 Utility. Privately, publicly, or cooperatively owned lines, facilities, and systems for producing, transmitting, or distributing communications, power, heat, gas, oil, water, waste, or storm water that are not connected with the highway drainage, signal systems, or other products that directly or indirectly serve the public, the utility company. 3.148 Verification Tests. Tests used to verify accuracy of QC and QA and mixture design testing. 3.149 Water abrasive blasting. Spraying blasts of pressurized water combined with abrasive media. 3.150 Water blasting. Spraying blasts of pressurized water of at least 3000 psi. 3.151 Water injected abrasive blasting. Abrasive blasting with water injected into the abrasive/air stream at the nozzle. 3.152 Wholly owned subsidiary. A legal entity owned entirely by the contractor or subcontractor. 3.153 Work. The furnishing of all labor, materials, equipment, and other incidentals necessary for the successful completion of the contract. 3.154 Work order. Written notice to the contractor to begin the work. The work order may include the date when work and time charges will begin, the allowable number of working days, and plan sheets providing details specific to a location or to an item of work for non-site specific work. A work order is part of the contract. 3.155 Written notice. Written notice is considered to have been duly given if delivered in person to the individual or member to whom it is intended, or if sent by regular, registered, or certified mail and delivered to the last known business address, sent by facsimile to the last known phone number, or sent by email to the last known address. The date of the letter will serve as the beginning day of notice. Unclaimed mail or failure to provide current contact information will not be considered a failure to provide written notice.